Hello and welcome everyone to KHM Today, your weekly go-to resource for industry news and just straight up fun. Do you believe this is our 8th show? The time has just flown by and we've had the most amazing guests in the last few weeks. And today is no different. We have Anita Pagliasso, who is our Senior Vice President of Industry Relations at KHM Travel Group. You guys asked for more destination information. So today with us is Ciso Moreno, who is going to share his love of Puerto Rico. If you've been confused about what travel expenses you can deduct from your taxes, Dave from KHM Travel Group is here to help us understand that process. And one of our favorites, Matt Walgren, is here live from Puerto Vallarta, who's going to share his perfected recipe for corn tortillas. But before we get started, I mean, how can you match Matt and corn tortillas with National Tortilla Chip Day? So I have all my favorites here because I'm doing a taste test, not to be confused with product placement at all, but I have some of my favorites. I've got some feedback here. Matt, you want to mute yourself? We have La Favorita Tostitos with a hint of lime, and we've got the cheap ones for the kids. And as you can see, all the bags are open, and I've been munching all morning on them. So National Tortilla Chip Day, go out and have yourself some fun. You all know that I love the travel trades. And this weekend, I was able to catch up on some of my back copies of Travel Age West. And you're not going to believe the article that I read. Hold on to your seats. Pack your corsets, because you can now, when the time is right, travel to all the sites that are made famous in the Netflix series Bridgerton. So let's pack our bags. Let's plan a trip. Ladies, get on board. Men, if you love the show too, you're welcome to come. Please don't pack your corset. But let's go ahead and get that trip planned, because what fun would it be to go visit those sites? I'm going to start my planning now. Now that's a mind-blowing headline. I don't know what Chantele could possibly say that's going to beat that, but let's go ahead and bring her on to share this week's headlines. And I'm going to try and focus on her headlines and not on Bridgerton. Doesn't that sound like fun? I don't know about the corset thing, but
I'd be willing to try it. I think that would be fun.
They're selling out on Amazon.
Oh, good. Good afternoon, agents. Happy Tortilla Day. And hopefully you have a bowl of guac and salsa, mix them both together. That would be awesome. So today in the headlines, first, we're going to start out with TLN Edge Conference is scheduled in person. That's right. I said it, in person, for October 18th to the 21st in Orlando, Universal Studios. They are going to be using the Lowe's Royal Pacific and Lowe's Sapphire Falls. It is not time to register yet, but keep watching your email, because I'm sure you get 1,000 emails from travel leaders just like I do. So very exciting. Hopefully that will happen. Next up in the headlines. Okay, so there's an app for literally everything, and now there's an app for the National Park Service. How great is this? So right now it's in beta testing, so it's not out there for everybody just yet, but how much easier is this going to be for your clients to be able to plan trips to the national parks? It will be available for Apple and Android, and it's going to have all the information in there. The locations, what there is to see and do. So this is very, very exciting. So be watching out for the app to come to fruition very soon. The next headline, Vegas is coming back to life. Looks like next month, around mid-March, things are going to be opening up. MGM, Mandalay Bay, Park MGM, Mirage, they're going to be open 24/7, not closed during the week anymore, okay? The shows are going to start returning as long as the numbers stay down, obviously. Trade shows, conferences, conventions, they're going to start opening things back up slowly. Hopefully, they will allow the resorts or the hotels to have up to 50% capacity. So keep watching the Las Vegas Visitors Convention and Visitors Bureau, the LVCVA. Keep watching that. That is a great website for us as travel agents as well, to keep watching on what's going to be opening up. So very exciting. Vegas is coming back, baby. Hornblower Group, big announcement. They purchased Shore Trips for $1.8 million. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't mean that everybody who filed, is going to get a full refund. There are going to be many claims being submitted. So just be aware of that. But we know Hornblower to be American Queen Steamboat Company and Victory. So it's a solid company. So let's hope for a good outcome for that. And last but not least, have you heard of astrocartography? So this is a branch of astrology that shows the exact positioning of the planets at the moment you were born. And the premise is that the Earth holds a memory, a resonant memory of this alignment. Knowing your map can help you understand why you feel happier in some places than others. Just like why I don't like snow and I live in Ohio. I'm happier in the tropical. So I'm a Scorpio. Supposedly I'm brooding and intense. Do I scare you? There's a fire burning inside, but not always in explosive mode. So they are saying that I need to go to Hawaii and I need to go to Volcanoes National Park and I need to take a helicopter ride over the volcano on the Big Island. So if you're a Scorpio, they're saying that our place, our happy place is Hawaii. So the last question on your client qualification is going to be, what's your sign? And just to end, this is really not on a good note, but if you haven't been on Facebook today, please go on there, because in the last hour, 4 cruise lines have already announced that they are suspending sailings through May, and these are also going to be affecting the Alaska sailings. Some are canceling, all of them that have anything to do with Canada. So please go on both Facebook pages. It's going to be under the announcements. So I didn't want to end it on a downer, but be aware the dominoes are falling.
Thank you, Chantele. Is there a website for this astrocartography that we can visit so we know?
Well, it was an article in Condé Nast, so okay. I don't know. It might be worth Googling to find out, to see where your happy place is.
And for all advisors on, if you've never been to the Travel Leaders Network Conference, EDGE, it is well worth your time and money. And the fact that it's at Universal is even more fun. So if it's within your budget to go this year, it is a good value for money when it comes to continuing education. So keep that in mind. But thank you so much for being here. Go enjoy some chips.
Welcome. Thank you. Back to you.
Our next guest really needs no introduction, or a huge introduction. She is one of my favorite people. Her resume is impressive and makes me exhausted just thinking about all she does on a daily basis. She has so much energy and works tirelessly for agents, both within KHM Travel Group and within the whole industry. Please help me welcome Anita Pagliasso, Vice President of Industry Sales for KHM Travel Group. Anita, welcome.
Hi everybody. Thank you. And it's actually industry relations. I don't want to.
What did I say? Oh, I did say that. What did I say?
Okay, that's okay. We're all in this together, and it's just a great opportunity. So, can you see
Anita,
me?
We cannot see you. I'm wondering what came out of my mouth. Did I say industry sales? There we are.
Sales.
There we are. I did say industry sales, yet on the screen and on my piece of paper is industry relations. I think I had too many chips this morning.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So tell us, what do you do in your role?
Okay, so industry relations is kind of, it's always been a very big spirit within me, is kind of championing for our industry and bringing relations together and elevating everybody to the point where we're really recognized outside of our own little industry. So with that, I am actually involved with several of the different associations out there, and one of them is ASTA, the American Society of Travel Advisors. And what I've done in the past, and I'm currently doing, I'm on the advisory committee for independent contractors. So they're really trying over the last several years to really understand the role of the independent contractors. In addition to that, I am now the vice president of Northern California ASTA chapter. And that's really been really good as far as getting the word out and getting everybody together. Just as we're right now, we're all doing this mobily. And so that's one of the charters is also supporting not only the agents, but supporting other people in our industry, such as our business relation managers that are out there as well going through this. And so I'm on the corporate advisory committee, which is very interesting to see. Most of us is the real brick and mortar part of the agencies that are out there. And so that's been very enlightening to be a participant in a lot of those conversations. And also I'm the second vice president, got to get all these titles correct. And or my crown's going to fall off my head, but the second vice president of CCTO, what that is, the California Coalition of Travel Organizations. And here in California, you know, we call it Crazy California, and there's so much going on all the time. And part of that was really getting involved with kind of stopping that whole AB5 where it was trying to turn independent contractors into employees. And what I really was valuable to me, not just with ASTA, but with CCTO, was understanding the power and the value of getting involved and going and what a lobbyist does and how they help us. So both ASTA and CCTO have wonderful lobbyists that are out there fighting for the rights of the travel industry constantly. So that has been really great. And then lastly is I'm president of PATH for several years now, and that's the Professional Association of Travel Host Agencies, and which KHM is a proud member of all of these associations, and I really encourage everybody to get involved as much as you can. And yet I think KHM's negotiated really great discount rates for everything. Oh, my latest one is I got nominated to be I am on the board of directors for the Travel Institute. Can't leave them out because learning and education is a big proponent of mine. It just, I think we can never stop learning.
Well, and your shirt says empower and I believe inspire, correct? Which is exactly what I feel like your job entails. And I don't even know if you consider it a job. It is all these different organizations that you work with that truly are about empowering agents to be the best they can be and educate them, and resources galore for everyone that's out there, whether you're within KHM or not.
Yes, it's true. This shirt, when I saw it, I thought I had to get this shirt. It really is kind of everything that I believe in, and however I can help inspire and empower anybody out there. It thrills me to hear something like that. And by the way, I can't show it, but this has a tail. It's almost like a cape. So when I see all of you in person again, I'll wear my cape, my Empower and Inspire cape.
Awesome. So tell me something. This last year has been crazy, and it's so weird to now say those words, this last year. I mean, it's been a whole year. What message do you have for agents that is something that you have learned throughout your career and can say, you know what, when you feel like you just want to crawl under the desk, remember this?
Yeah, you know, I think it's you've chosen this career, and that's what is the most empowering thing, is that you had this choice, and you have this choice to hang on and be resilient. Because I was talking earlier today, I just feel this sense of optimism. Yes, you know, Chantele just gave us some more news, and I mentioned to us earlier before the call is that we're learning to pivot, you know, but all of a sudden we're trying, you know, we're pivoting so much, we're kind of getting dizzy. So you're waiting for that pivot to stop. And so one of the things that I would say, and it's something that I would like to share that I do all the time, because I don't know if you can see behind me. That's my favorite word and it's everywhere. It's all over, because I do believe we've gone through rocky roads before. This is rockier than most, obviously, for a lot of different reasons, but we're all in together and we'll all grow out of it. And one of the things, you know, I am surrounded by books and little things that I collect. I collect sayings, I collect words, but I have to show everybody, this is my favorite little jar. And what it is, it helps me every day when things are like they are, is there's something really good that happens and very, very positive in your life. And if you focus on those things, then everything will come along afterwards. I mean, we can dwell on the negative, but you know, I'm going to put some things in that I took out, and just little things. I mean, I can put this in. Maybe I had a bad day, but I got up and I made my bed. So we're going to stick that one in there. You know, I'm going to send flowers to a friend who just had some surgery, which I did. And so I'm going to send those flowers to a friend and hopefully brighten somebody else's day. You know, there's one thing, I just called a client, which I think is so important, you know, just to check in with your clients. Call one a day, if it's just 1 or 5 or whatever, and do that. And you can mark these, you can keep them for a month, you can keep them for a day. But I just finished a course. These are all the little things that I'm hoping at the end of this, I can say I made Matt's corn tortillas, so that I could put that in my jar. But little sayings that, like this one, your best career starts at the end of your comfort zone. So those are the kinds of things that I rip off of my walls. This is my favorite, and I don't think you can see it very well, but I did have this taped on my wall. I forget all the reasons why it won't work, and believe the one reason why it will. So, I mean, is this travel related? It's life related. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're positive in your life, everything will come along, you know, the resilience, the perseverance, and keep learning and just keep moving forward, whatever you can.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Anita. And it's so funny you bring out that jar, because I have found myself, you know, doing some of the things that I used to do with my kids to offer encouragement, and now kind of having to revert back to some of those, not only for them as teenagers to motivate, but also for myself. And I have also found that putting things that have been fantastic or have gone right, or sayings, if I put those somewhere, even on just a bulletin board, and I look over at it, it's really encouraging. So gosh, guys, take that nugget with you and do something with it, because I think we all just need those words of motivation every once in a while, every day, I think, right now.
It's so, for me also, it's, you know, it's peer to peer. And what I see that all of you are doing day in and day out, supporting each other through this, what KHM is doing for everybody to support everybody. So, you know, your families and everything else, support is needed. We all need it. So kudos to all of you that are reaching out to everybody. And one of the things we had talked about the other day is, you know, don't, you know, get on there and share your expertise. Even don't, you know, we want everybody to participate on that Facebook page, because that's what it's there for. It's to learn, but it's also to share and support.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. The purpose of this segment was to motivate and inspire, and I knew there was no one better within the industry than you to do this for us today. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
Now go make some corn tortillas.
No, wait. All right. Thanks so much.
Anita.
All right. Talk to everybody.
All right, you guys. One of our favorites. I mean, if you ever are down in the dumps, Anita is the one that always has the right thing to say to get us inspired. I am so happy to welcome our next guest. He is an expert in the destination of Puerto Rico, and he has been on the tourism board for at least 28 years. He has consulted with Discover Puerto Rico for many years, and today he is here to share everything not everything, but a lot about what he knows about Puerto Rico. Ciso, welcome to the show.
Hola. Good afternoon,
Hola.
Carolyn. Good afternoon, friends of KHM. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for being here. I love your hat.
Thank you. I think I have to walk the talk. You know, it's 84 degrees in Puerto Rico. It would be advisable to have a hat, you know, at least.
Yes.
With the sun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Puerto Rico is a beautiful destination. Sadly, I have only been there as a cruise stop on a ship to San Juan, which I absolutely loved. When I look at Puerto Rico, I get a little overwhelmed by the geography and the number of options, and I'm not quite sure where to go and how to get there. So can you start by explaining a little bit about the geography of Puerto Rico and where we want to go once we land at the airport?
Certainly. It will be very overwhelming to anyone, actually, to think about where you're going to go, you know, depending on your likes, your interest. But one thing is, you know, our main airport is located in San Juan. And as you can see in this map, you have different regions, different colors. So we're going to start on your main gateway. San Juan is on the blue, which is a metro area. That's your main gateway. And at the present time, it's the only airport that is available due to the COVID pandemic. So we're able to control the access and so on. But as you can see, there will be other regions for you to enjoy. We do have other airports at the same time. If you look to the south of Puerto Rico, the city of Ponce, there's also one airport down there that will reopen soon. And the same token, on the northwest end, on the left-hand side of the map, you have Aguadilla Airport. So you do have three main gateways. So depending on your interests and your likes, you'll be able to come in either way. But at the present time, we only have the San Juan Airport available for you. But something peculiar about Puerto Rico is people tend to think that San Juan is Puerto Rico. And I always say, you know what, give me the opportunity. Look at the different colors, look at the different regions. See that we are part of an archipelago of islands. There's islands around the island of Puerto Rico. And all of them will offer you some kind of uniqueness to it and a different taste of Puerto Rico, starting with the food. The culture is very different from one region to the other, the landscapes as well. So depending on where you want to go and what you like to do, we're able to learn more about Puerto Rico. People that like the beaches, the adventure side, love the east end of Puerto Rico. If you're more into the cultural side, the southern part of Puerto Rico would offer you that culture. Very different from the beautiful old San Juan that has over 500 years, which we're going to be celebrating those 500 years of the foundation. But the city of Ponce, it's more of that colonial type. It's more like a New Orleans type versus real Spanish from San Juan. In the Central Mountain Range, you're going to find all these beautiful views, mountains and landscape. Very different from other Caribbean islands. Tons of mountains from east to west. The west coast of Puerto Rico, it's a water sports paradise. Our sunset coast, great picture taking. And then as you go towards the north side of the island, then you have more adventure travel, which is something unique. Puerto Rico has two different bodies of water, the Atlantic Ocean on the north side, then the Caribbean Sea. So from a little bit of a, like I said, I don't want to say rough waters because you have some beautiful coasts on the north side for the beaches, but then you have the calm waters of the Caribbean on the southern part. So it's a very, how can I say, diverse contrast of landscapes, bodies of water, beaches, and so on.
So we have some of your favorite hotels listed on the screen. If I land in San Juan and I want to go over to the Isabella Resort, how am I getting there? Am I getting there by a car or a taxi? And once I'm there, how accessible are things? So, you know, am I able to leave my resort? Because most of the resorts in Puerto Rico, if not all, there's no all-inclusive, correct?
That's correct. However, that's a very good question. I love the question, Carolyn. We do have two properties in Puerto Rico that offer you the all-inclusive option. They're not the real all-inclusives, but you have the all-inclusive option. So one of them is a Wyndham Grand on the north side, and then you have on the southeast side of Puerto Rico, another Wyndham as well, Candelero Hotel.
Okay.
They offer that.
What's the best way to get around? Is it by car?
I will say rent a car. Renting a car, and we feel very comfortable safety-wise. We do say that to you. Great infrastructure, very easy to move around. Remember, we're part of the U.S., and one of the major benefits that we have, you don't need to change your mobile plan. Your cell phone is your GPS. So you can actually move anywhere within Puerto Rico. We have invested over $90 million into the infrastructure, into the communication infrastructure after the hurricane. So all that has been enhanced and improved. But going back to your original question about Royal Isabela, which is on the northwest end, look in Aguadilla. Aguadilla is the town next to Isabela. There's an airport there. So you might as well, if you want to go there, United Airlines and also JetBlue will fly to the Aguadilla airport and service you. If you're on the East Coast, very easy to get there. Otherwise, you have to fly to San Juan, and you rent a car and you drive about an hour and 45 minutes. But when you get there, you are in paradise. We're talking about the Royal Isabela Resort is sitting on a 200-foot cliff. So those are your vistas, your views. You have your plunge pools. These are hand-carved mahogany roofs. When you open the door of your little bungalow, but it's very upscale, all you have the scent of that beautiful wood, and it is amazing. Like I said, the villas, farm to table service. You can actually go with the chef and pick up what you can eat for lunch and dinner. That's the kind of place that you have in Royal Isabela. Renting a car, but if you go to San Juan, Uber is readily available, and our airport has excellent taxi service 24/7.
Awesome. So what are some of your favorite things to do while visiting?
It all depends on my mood, as we say. No. There's so many things you can do. Definitely, I always like to enjoy Old San Juan. Old San Juan is a walking museum. I think Old San Juan is very romantic. So depending on what are you up to and your visit to Puerto Rico, it could be as romantic or as adventurous. A lot of people don't know that El Morro Fort, it's the largest fort built by the Spaniards, and it took them close to 250 years to build. And they always, every time you go on a cruise, it says, welcome to Puerto Rico, say bye from Puerto Rico at the same time. Forts like that, we have 5 within the San Juan metro area. It's something unique. Juan Ponce de Leon was our first governor, was a big explorer. That's why we have a city in the southern part called Ponce, because of Juan Ponce de Leon. At the same time, but Old San Juan, the pastel colors, the cobblestone streets, all the different museums. We have the second oldest church in the New World. We have the oldest executive mansion in continuous use. It's in Puerto Rico. So these are things that are so important to remember, to keep them in mind. And the food is delicious in there. So you have history, you have culture, a little bit of everything within San Juan. One of the places I really, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say one of the things I loved about it is when you go in for ice cream, you can also get a beer. So kids and parents are happy. That's the first time I'd ever seen that, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, you know what is something real fashion right now? Bicycle tours within Old San Juan, Segway tours. And that way, the kids have a little bit more entertainment, especially when traveling with teenagers too. They just don't want to just walk around or just take a cab to the location. They want to do something different. So that's available for you. So you can have your beer, you can have your rum, you can have your piña colada, your good coffee, all that in San Juan. And something that is very upbeat right now, and they're back right now, is all the gastronomical tours, the food tours that are available for you, and they even have a coffee tour. You taste 6 different coffees in 2.5 hours. Believe me, you have all the energy you need to walk around Old San Juan with all those coffees that you're going to have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have the rainforest.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite places. Some people say, everybody says the rainforest. But what about having a picnic at the rainforest? Look at a different perspective. Look for your own waterfall. Maybe you're into exercising. You know what? It's a nice hike, 2.5 hours all the way up to the top. La Mina Falls, romantic as it could be. We have short walks for people that are physically impaired, that they can enjoy some of the nature. This could be a part of a bucket list for anyone. Have you ever been on a jungle? The good thing, there's no wild animals except tourists. No, just kidding. But this is the kind of ambience, it's a kind of place, and that's only 45 minutes away from San Juan. On a clear day, you can see the Virgin Islands. That's the kind of vistas that you get to see up there. The Puerto Rican parrot is going under extinction. Another unique thing from the rainforest of El Yunque. But if you're into adventure, like I said before, horseback riding is available. You can go from a river to a beach within the rainforest area. You can do ATVs, all-terrain vehicles, hiking, of course. So there's so many things, and they even have night tours, which is something that is unique. Something important that Chantele mentioned before about the U.S. national parks. To go to the rainforest, nowadays you need to make reservations, and within that website, you're able to make your reservation to go to the rainforest of El Yunque, because it's the only U.S. forest, it's the only national park within the U.S. I mean, the only tropical rainforest under the National Park Service.
Awesome.
So that's something unique.
Okay,
Yep.
BioBays.
BioBays. Think about, there's 5 BioBays, all year round BioBays in the world. Puerto Rico is blessed by having 3 of them. You have one in Vieques, which is the one that glows the most in the world. I'll tell you a little story. When Maria, the hurricane, came to Puerto Rico, actually there were 2 hurricanes that came to Puerto Rico, everything went dark. We're like, oh, what happened, and so on. National Geographic just went back 6 months after Maria. They did some testing. You know what? The BioBay is glowing more than it was glowing before 2017. By 5 times, 5-fold more than that. You go on an electrical boat, you can do glass bottom kayaks. So you can have different experiences depending on how much skill or energy levels you have. Another BioBay that we have within the mainland and the northeast end of Puerto Rico, only an hour away from San Juan. A lot of the people on cruises can't do it because you can just go back before the cruise departs San Juan, the port of San Juan, excuse me. This is one in Fajardo. And then 2 hours south on the southern part of Puerto Rico, we have La Parguera. La Parguera is a BioBay, and that's the only one, and tell you a secret, it's the only one that you can go swimming, because in the other ones, they don't let you go swimming. So swimming is a different experience than just going on a glass bottom boat or just pedaling around. That's unique within Puerto Rico. So from 5, we have 3. That's a must.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to let you take this one because I'm going to probably butcher the names if I say it. The islands of Vizcay and Culebra.
You got it. Yes, Vieques, very well, very good. Yeah. Say the other one, Culebra.
Culebra.
Yeah, Culebra means snake. Don't get scared. There's no snakes there. It's just the shape of the island looks like the mouth of a snake. As simple as that. These 2 beautiful islands are part of the same archipelago of the U.S. Virgin Islands. So think about the waters. Why you want to go to Culebra? Culebra is the host of Flamenco Beach, one of the top 10 beaches in the world. As per Condé Nast magazine and any other magazines that you can have around, they will always rave about Culebra. Gorgeous, but there's so many beaches out there. If you're looking for a romantic island, Culebra will be that place, idyllic beaches and so on. In a big contrast, think about Vieques, the island of Vieques. Oh, they have a BioBay. I want to go there to check out the BioBay. That's important, but something that is different. And like I said, you can sell Puerto Rico like Hawaii. We do have black sand too. Where? In the island of Vieques. So you have white sand, gold sand, pink sand in Puerto Rico, black sand. Somebody I can say, you know, in every seminar we do, what's your best beach? I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know what kind of beaches you like. Long coves, short stretches, little ones, the color of the sand. So all those different elements that you keep there are important for you. But Vieques and Culebra, they're unique islands. My suggestion to you is when you fly to the San Juan airport, please grab a flight into the island. It's very attractive to think about. There's a ferry boat for $5 each way that you can come back like, oh, $10. Yeah, but from San Juan Airport all the way down to the place where you take the ferry, it's an hour and a half, and you pay $120 in a cab. The same thing on your way back. So you might as well just fly for 25 minutes. Oh, on the ferry boat ride is another hour. So
Right.
start doing your math. What happened if you miss the boat? As I said, now you need to find a luncheon. I hope you have a travel agent with you helping you with all these things, otherwise you're going to be stuck. And that's
Right.
important. So think about it. That's the best way of doing it. And you don't need to, how can I say, turn off your phone, you get free Wi-Fi, you can use it, take pictures as you go, take a video. The views are tremendous, they're beautiful, because you have a low flight into the islands. Like I said, it's only 25 minutes into it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple
Toro
more
Verde,
do's and do's. Toro Verde.
Yeah.
Toro Verde.
Toro Verde, that's one of my favorite locations because I like zip lines. If you think about zip lines, the highest, fastest, and longest zip line in the Americas is in Toro Verde Adventure Park. The adventure park is the largest adventure park in the world. When you put all the zip lines, the footage of all the zip lines together, that's why we get that. Guinness World Book of Records 4 years ago came to Puerto Rico and gave us one big award, the largest zip line in the world, until Dubai came around, took our people, and they decided to do it. They have more money than we do in Puerto Rico, so they can build anything they want to. However, we still have the longest, the fastest, and the highest zip line in the Americas. It's called the Beast. With that name, sort of scary. 2 minutes. Think about football season, 29 football fields back to back. 2 minutes and 15 seconds of airtime. I can cry, I can close my eyes, I can laugh, which I do. Open your eyes and enjoy the view. That's what you do. Then they have another zip line called the Beast. So look at the names, the monster, the Beast. And on a full moon, only on weekends, if you match those two, you can do zip lines at night. So you can fly like the witches at night on a full moon too, if you want to. Yeah, it's an amazing
before we go much
location.
further, I know we have some questions. Chantele, do you want to pick a couple of those? It's such great information. And thank you for telling us, take a plane from San Juan over to the islands.
Yeah.
That's a time saver.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't hear you, Chantele.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank
There
you
we
so
go.
much. This was wonderful. Oh, can you hear me now?
Now
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay. So we have a question. What is the Pork Highway?
Oh, that's excellent. The Pork Highway. We don't have racing pigs like they have or swimming pigs like they have in Bahamas. No. The Pork Highway, it's a location in the center of the island, only 45 minutes south of San Juan. We always encourage people to go there to eat pork. You have more than 40 to 50 pork stands. They get up at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're sleeping and they start roasting the pigs. The guy that roasts the pigs open a bottle of rum. When the bottle of rum is done, the pig is done. Would you believe that? That's the way. That's the way they know it's done. And they put the last little sip on the top so it gets very crispy. You have the crispy skin. And I would always like to say this. You know Anthony Bourdain, I'm from New Jersey. He's a big food travel writer that passed away last year. He always liked to go to Guavate, what we call the location where the Pork Highway is located. He will go to Puerto Rico and he'd always tell his friends, I want to go to Guavate, because he loved to go there. That's an anecdote that we always have, and we always keep that in our heads. But
I love
Anthony
it.
Bourdain.
What a great question.
Michael
Talking about
Cerrito,
foodies.
thank you for that question.
Yes,
Michael.
thanks, Michael.
Can you also tell us, there is a Margaritaville is that open, the resort? Do you know if that's
Yes.
open or not?
Yeah. Margaritaville is
Is it
adjacent.
an all-inclusive?
It is adjacent to the Wyndham Grand Rio Mar, which is the property that I mentioned to Caroline before that offers you the all-inclusive option. They're only 35 to 40 minutes east of the San Juan airport or east of San Juan. Very accessible, beautiful beach. And if we're talking about enjoying the rainforest of El Yunque, the Bayo Bay on that side, doing ATVs and horseback riding, that would be a great location, Margaritaville.
One thing that I do want to point out, not because I know this to be fact, but there was a Margaritaville in Grand Cayman, and it was billed as sort of an all-inclusive, but it's really important to read the fine print on that because it does not look like your typical all-inclusive that you would see in the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, or Mexico. So make sure that if you're looking at it for the all-inclusive purposes, that you're really understanding what's included and how it's included, because at least from the Grand Cayman perspective, it did look different than what you would typically consider an all-inclusive. So just make sure that you're fully knowledgeable on that. So, you know, you're not selling something to your clients that they think they're getting and then they get down there and they're not. Any other questions, Chantele, before we get to why we love Puerto Rico?
Right. Yes, one more. Could you list the 3 by?
Oh, I think it was, can you list the 3 bio bays?
Well, again, logistics. You got to put everything in perspective.
Yes.
If you arrive to San Juan, you can basically do the one in Fajardo, which is on the east end because it's only 1 hour away from San Juan. And believe me, I've said this to other people before, and they say we're going to do it. And the only trick here, before I finish going to the other two, is that you have to keep in mind about the moon calendar. The less moon, the better. If you're going to go to Puerto Rico and you have a full moon, which is going to be very romantic, you're not going to see anything because the more light, the less they glow. So that's key. So look at the moon calendar. Anytime you're going to go to the Bayo Bay, the less moon, the better. So you can do the one in Fajardo, only 1 hour away from San Juan. Remember, fly to Vieques, or if you're doing stay there, do a combo. That's what I always say to people. Enjoy a couple of days in Vieques and Culebra. It's going to be worth it. Then come back to San Juan for the nightlife, for the culture. So do the combo. That's something that is unique. And then the same thing. Remember the regions that I mentioned? All of them are different. Go south, about 1 hour and 45 minutes, you find La Parguera. La Parguera, it's what a funky town. It is. I feel like when the old TV show Cheers, like people know your name. That's the kind of place because people are so friendly there. They specialize in selling sangria. So if you don't see the dinoflagellates that glow at night, after all the sangria, you're gonna see something. I don't know what, but you're gonna see something out there. And La Parguera is that funky town where you can just walk out with drinks. People don't bother you. Excellent diving. I'm a diver myself and enjoy going diving out there. That's my little secret spot for diving. So these are things that are unique. The Bayo Bay in La Parguera, only 1 hour and 45 minutes from San Juan. You have casinos around because you have the city of Ponce, only 30 minutes away. So looking for something different, yeah, the Bayo Base will do it because you have all the things around it. And you can do that within a week.
Awesome. Thank you, Chantele. If there are additional questions, we'll go through what's been listed and I'll send those off to Ciso himself so he can answer those for you guys. So before we finish up, why do we love Puerto Rico so much?
Well, one thing is, you know, we have excellent airlift to Puerto Rico. From the East Coast, God, we have so many nonstops. Great nonstop service from Texas to Chicago. From the Michigan area as well, Florida. Oh my God, they got everything. Excellent connections. Look at the pricing nowadays, and you'll be surprised about the pricing on the airlift right now to Puerto Rico, which is amazing. But something that is important is all the main legacy carriers have that. It's a Sket Air. Right now we're back to over 120 daily nonstop flights. We're talking about on a weekly basis, close to 700. No other destination in the Caribbean give you skate flights like that. So you can always come back. Hope we don't get a snowstorm on your way back. Or maybe you want to say, sure, I don't
Just a little
mind.
bit longer.
But
Yep.
important is, you don't need a passport. That's key. One of the benefits. And also in these COVID times, remember, we're part of the US. When you come back, you don't need to do the testing before that. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. And the no passport, we don't have an entry and exit fee like other destinations have too. So that's something that is also beneficial. And something that we always say, and we can just go back to San Juan, probably to Old San Juan. Old San Juan, just have a cup of coffee or a drink on one of the little outside cafes after you did a nice walking tour or you did one of the gastronomical tours at night. Enjoy that. That's the kind of feeling that you have within the old city. Remember, they always say, oh, it's an international flight. Actually, it's a domestic flight, but you have the international flavor. Old San Juan could be anywhere in Valencia, Barcelona, or Madrid.
Mhm.
Just enjoy a cup of coffee, a piña colada, your favorite drink, and you're an international destination within the US. That's Puerto Rico.
Awesome. Thank you, Ciso. And something, you guys know I'm always looking for tie-ins for our national days. Tortilla chips are not part of Puerto Rico. We had this conversation the other day because I said, look, I've Googled this and it doesn't look like tortilla chips are anywhere in the cuisine of Puerto Rico. And it's not. But there is an arepa.
We have arepas, correct? Yeah.
Which you don't like.
Which I don't like. I'm honest to you. And they're more of a region of Puerto Rico, mostly on the east end of the island, northeast end. A lot of the fishermen use them because they have the fried fish and they just like to grab it. But also, what we like in Puerto Rico, which is for us, our tortillas are the tostones, which is a fried plantain. My people, as soon as you try one, you're gonna get addicted. These are little plantain chips. If you have the chip, but the tostones are a little bit thicker. They're double fried. You put some garlic sauce into it, or just the typical Puerto Rican sauce: mayo, ketchup, mayonnaise, ketchup, and hot sauce. Put that. If you want to just crown it, like we said, let's crown it. Put a shrimp on top. Put a piece of lobster. Anything that you want. And now we're talking about tostones. Forget about the tortillas for that day. You're gonna have a great time in Puerto Rico. Really, the plantains, double fried, are called tostones. That will be our typical tortilla chip, if I can say.
I love it. Ciso, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go book my flight right now. You have made the destination of Puerto Rico clear to me now. I'm not afraid to book it anymore, and I'm excited to book it for my clients. So thanks so much for being a part of this show today.
My pleasure. It's always great to be with you, and with our friends from KHM. Always, if I can be of help, please let me know. Assistant, any questions? Love to help you out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hasta luego.
Stay warm.
Thank you. I will.
Oh, you guys. We love Ciso. So next up is our finance and tax tip. And I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to taxes and deducting travel expenses or even just expenses for my overall business, it can get confusing. But Dave Goutierre is here to help us understand this better. Welcome, Dave.
Good afternoon.
Thanks so much for being here. We know you're busy, but this is a really important topic, and especially for ICs, we have to be careful about what we're deducting and how we're deducting it, because the last thing any of us wants is to be audited.
Correct. And the biggest issue is, for most people, it's making sure you keep proper documentation. There was a case back in 2015 where a travel agent properly deducted a trip, but it got completely disallowed because their documentation was weak. So the thing I really want to stress today is keep good, detailed documentation.
Awesome. So besides documentation, there is something that you call ordinary and necessary expenses. Can you explain that to us?
Right. So an expense is deductible as long as it is both ordinary and necessary. So ordinary would be like internet. In a travel agent's business, that is completely acceptable. Nobody's going to take exception to that. It's an ordinary part of it, and that it is also necessary. You can't conduct your business without it. The problem for travel agents is there are some things that you might incur on a FAM that the IRS might push back on. And so in order to demonstrate that it's ordinary and necessary, you really want to take good notes. So I'll give an example. If you are on a cruise and you go to the steakhouse because it's the chef branded steakhouse and you want to have a sense of what's that like for your clients, the IRS might push back on that. When you go there, you want to take the time to really critique it. You know, do your own restaurant review. What was the quality of the service? What was the quality of the food? How broad was the menu? If you can take a copy of the menu with you, take it. You know, what your other dinner companions, capture their notes. What did they think of it? So that if you capture all those notes and you keep it in your daily log, and you maybe even go through and say, you know, what clients would this be a great experience for? What you want to be able to show to the IRS is you're looking at this as how do I sell it? How do I improve my profitability? Because if you can demonstrate that you're approaching this with a business mindset of how to improve your profitability, you're going to win the day much more likely with the IRS that this is a viable business expenditure.
And is there a specific way that we should be documenting this? Is it a daily log on our computer? Are we okay using notebooks, file folders for each trip we take?
You know, I'm going to say it's what works for you. And one of the challenges is finding the time to do it. So, you know, some people like to have some quiet time at the end of the day. If that's you, at the end of the day, go through before you forget, make all your notes, get it documented. Other people are in the morning, and some people like me, they don't like doing it at all. So the best time for me to do it is in the moment. Try to, you know, have a little notepad, jot it down while it's fresh, you know, put the notepad away. But what you want to do then is make sure you capture it someplace so you can find it when you need it. And to that end, I'd highly recommend using an app. One I'm familiar with is Zoho. I'm not making any pitch for that. There are all kinds of them out there. I believe Zoho on an individual basis is free. And if it's not free, it's a very modest cost of like $250 a month or something. But you can take a picture of your receipt, it'll upload it. You can take a picture of any of your notes, it'll upload all that, and it'll be stored then in a central repository that you can get to. And the last thing you want to do is take the time to have all those notes and then not be able to find them when you need them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we didn't talk about this, but now I'm so curious as we're discussing this. Do I run the same risk, or should I be documenting the same if I'm going to a travel conference, which is considered, you know, continuing education? Should I still be documenting the same way? Obviously, I want to keep the receipts, but.
Sure. What you'd want to do is you can document it differently in the sense of what is the conference about. Conferences really do have some specific unique rules unto themselves. But what you want to do is get a copy of the agenda for the conference. Get a list of who the speakers are, you know, what industry in terms of Royal Caribbean or which particular resorts. The more complete the documentation you have, the better it is able to show that it was business related. And in any of these, whether it's on a cruise or a resort or a conference, you'll have to keep track of any non-business related expense, and show that as, you know, it wasn't deducted. You know, I did go to the spa, but I didn't deduct that because I wasn't using it as part of something I'm going to sell. Now, if you're going to try to sell that as one of the excursions, it's, you know, you can possibly do that, but then document it appropriately.
If we end up finding ourselves in a sticky situation, are we looking at a fine or are we looking at an orange jumpsuit?
Typically what's going to, well, let me first
You
approach
didn't,
it.
you didn't laugh at that, Dave. That's my favorite joke
Well, you
about
know,
taxes.
because
This is going to put me in an
can
orange jumpsuit.
it can be an orange jumpsuit, and we have a former president that has that potential in front of him. So I don't want to say no to him. But realistically, usually the IRS will approach it one of two ways. Sometimes they'll send you a letter to say, we're questioning this expense. You know, we don't believe it's appropriate. If you disagree, please respond. So what they do in that case is they usually give you 30 days. If you go back with all your notes, write a letter, attach all your documentation, send it in, there's a very good chance that, you know, it'll be allowed and you've got no problem. What if you don't respond, and they're pretty forgiving. If they say 30 days, they actually give you 60. But if you don't respond at all, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to ratchet it up to an audit if it's a really big item, or they're just going to automatically disallow it and come back, and you'll be assessed interest, penalties, and the tax that was on it.
Wow.
You know, if it's something small, I've gotten a letter before, it was like 160 bucks. You know what? It wasn't worth my time to go argue with them. So fine, disallow it. But if it's something big, like a fam trip or a convention, it's easy if you've got all that documentation to quickly pull it together, respond back to them. And likewise, in the case of an audit, I had a friend years ago, at that time, the IRS was going after attorneys, and they sent her a letter saying, we think, you know, you've underpaid your taxes to the tune of $40,000. She was not organized. She asked me to help her. She came into the conference room and she was carrying literally 3 huge, completely filled garbage bags.
Oh.
I waded through all the garbage bags. We put all the documentation together. We actually got her an $800 refund. So it is possible, but it took a lot of work. You don't want to do that to yourself. Do the work in 30-second increments.
Right. And we have to remember, for all of us, right, this is not a hobby, this is a business. And so we need to treat it as such. No matter how much we are or aren't selling, we still need to have our ducks in a row and really treat this as a business, and make sure that we're keeping the correct documentation. I can't thank you enough for being here. This was enlightening.
My pleasure.
So hopefully you'll come back and see us again and give us another finance or tax tip.
Be delighted to.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Take care. All right, you guys. One of our favorites is here, Matt. He is spending his last couple of days or day in Puerto Vallarta, where he has relocated for the last couple of months. And during that time, he believes he has perfected the corn tortilla recipe. And I am so excited to try this because many of you know my family's gluten-free. So when I heard he was making tortillas, I assumed he was making flour, but he was making corn. And so share with us your experience with making these.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty simple. There's just 2 ingredients. These are the best tortillas, corn tortillas you can make. Unless you wanted to grow your own corn and mill it, these are the best. It's very simple, but you can take it to another level if you want to. Once you've got this down, add some salt, take out some of the water, add some butter, or add some oil, have some fun with it. It's more of a feeling than a recipe, so you kind of have to get that feeling down, but they're a lot of fun and they're really delicious.
So for those of you that are with KHM, you can see the video of Matt making corn tortillas in the My Travel Agent portal KHM Today page. The recipe is available for everyone in the handout section. And I did forget to mention that we do have a handout there for you as well for some of that finance and tax tip information. So don't forget to download those today, but they're also both available on the KHM Today page in the portal. Matt, thank you so much. Have a safe trip back to the States. I know you're going to miss Puerto Vallarta, but we're going to be glad to have you back in country.
Thank you so much. And just one last thing, don't be afraid to make too many tortillas because you let them get stale and then you rip them up and you fry them in a pan and now they're tortilla chips. So
they're tortilla chips. Thanks, Matt, so much. Good to see you.
Bye.
Oh my goodness, so much information today. Thank you all so much for joining me. Please join me next week as we jump into spring into the month of March. We are very excited. We've got some fantastic speakers that are going to be joining us, and tips throughout the entire month on how you can make more money, right? Green means money. So see you soon, and don't forget to enjoy the rest of National Tortilla Chip Day. Take care, everyone.